What's up guys, my name is Ace, and right at the beginning of Season 4, the Milano 821 got a pretty massive buff, and I did cover this back then, and I mentioned this is likely going to become a meta weapon. And of course, now that some time has passed, a lot of people have caught on to this and realized that, yes, this is a very solid gun, and now I see a lot of people talking this up as if it is some kind of unstoppable god gun. So in today's video, I'm going to be breaking down the Milano in much more detail to see if this actually lives up to the hype, or if it's now a little bit overrated. So hopping right into it, the current damage profile is a 36 damage to the limbs, 39 damage to the lower torso, and 43 damage to the upper torso. Additionally, the rate of fire is fairly slow at 576 rounds per minute, and what this means for our upper torso time to kill against 3 armor plates, this gun has the potential of killing in 6 shots, which will give us a pure time to kill value of 521 milliseconds. And this is quite a solid time to kill value for an SMG. You will be putting people down pretty quickly. However, keep in mind with this time to kill potential, first up, it doesn't include the open bolt delay, and it does have an open bolt delay of roughly 60 milliseconds. And also, this assumes that 4 out of your 6 shots hit the upper torso. If any more than 2 of your shots hit them in the limbs or the lower torso, it's going to take you an extra shot to kill, and therefore your pure time to kill value will be 625 milliseconds. And at this point, this is now on the bottom end of SMGs when it comes to time to kill, at least in their maximum damage range. And keep in mind, with almost every other SMG in the game, our maximum damage will apply to the entire torso, so it's much easier to reach the time to kill potential with the SMGs compared to the Milano, where it requires you to hit that upper torso multiplier. Additionally, our headshot damage is 55, which can be great to make sure that you continue to get that 521 millisecond time to kill if you mix in one too many arm shots, for instance. However, if you wanted to use headshots to actually reduce that time to kill even further and get an incredibly fast time to kill, you would have to mix 3 headshots in with upper torso shots. And that's simply not practical in most situations, and therefore headshots really aren't that great on the Milano anymore. As for our range value, this is 20 meters, which is very solid for an SMG. This is one area where the Milano absolutely shines over the other SMGs, where it might not beat them right up close and personal, but when you start to get from like 10 to 20 meters, where most of the other SMGs have started to drop off to their next damage range, the Milano still carries its maximum damage. But then we also have our bullet velocity, which is standard for Cold War SMGs and quite slow at 350 meters per second, which is definitely going to hold this back at longer ranges. And it's actually one of the only things that will hold the Milano back at longer ranges, because its time to kill potential at longer ranges is actually better than a lot of the assault rifles in the game. But finally, for these base stats that I want to look at here, our recoil is pretty solid. This is one of the big upsides to using the Milano as well. The first 15 or so shots kick pretty much straight upwards, so therefore it's really easy to control and predict that. Then it will cut pretty hard to the right and then upward again. But in most gunfights, you should be putting people down and finishing them within those first 15 shots anyway, so therefore the Milano is quite accurate and easy to control. So if we were to just look at these base stats and look at the potential time to kill values with the Milano, it really does look like this is the new top dog, and this is an extremely versatile and powerful SMG. It's got great time to kill potentials. It's looking really good on paper so far. However, I do feel a lot of people aren't really taking into account actual situations in game that you're going to be running into, and therefore I think in a lot of ways the Milano is currently overrated. And what I mean by that is not necessarily that I think the Milano is a bad gun, I just think that it's not quite as amazing as some people are making it out to be currently. And let's dive a little bit deeper into that. I've already kind of touched on this when it comes to the maximum damage range, but like I said, you have to hit at least 4 out of your 6 shots to the upper torso, which in really close ranges, like within 10 meters, that's very doable for most players out there. You don't have to be some kind of an aiming god to make that happen, so that's reasonable. But as you start stretching that range out, it becomes more and more likely that you're going to be hitting more than 2 shots to the stomach or the limbs. Additionally, at least when it comes to my time to kill values here, I haven't included the open bolt delay. I do like to keep open bolt delay separate from my pure time to kill values because it doesn't account for situations where you're pre-firing, and it also leads to a mismatch in time to kill versus time to die, and I like to keep things consistent, so therefore I always separate open bolt delay from the pure time to kill. So when you factor that in as well, in many situations, even though the potential pure time to kill value is 521 milliseconds, what you're actually going to be experiencing is 685 milliseconds. and this now makes it one of the slowest killing SMGs in the game again. Additionally, in that maximum damage range, when we talk about headshots, like I said, you'll need 3 headshots mixed in with upper torso shots to reduce the number of shots to kill to get an even faster time to kill, and that's really not practical in most situations. Whereas when you compare that to something like the Modern Warfare MP5, you only need 1 single headshot mixed in with any torso shots, not just upper torso shots, in order to get a 450 millisecond time to kill without any open bolt delay at all on that gun. So if you are looking at its absolute best potential, it doesn't quite keep up with the other SMGs in close range situations. And that's just talking about the maximum damage range. Now let's move into longer ranges, because a lot of people are saying this is actually better than many of the assault rifles in the game at longer ranges, due to its accuracy, handling, and time to kill potential. And when you look at the potential of this, our upper torso damage at longer ranges beyond 20 meters, it's going to be 36, and that gives us a 7-shot kill potential to the upper torso, which gives us a time to kill potential of 625 milliseconds, which for longer ranges, especially for an SMG, this is incredible. That is an amazing time to kill value. However, in that case, literally every single bullet needs to hit the upper torso, or you have to mix headshots in there as well to account for any lower torso or limb shots. And especially once you start getting to longer ranges, when you also factor in bullet velocity, this is highly unlikely. It's very unlikely you're going to be getting a consistent 7-shot kill against a fully plated enemy beyond its maximum damage range. And therefore, our more practical time to kill value in longer ranges is 729 milliseconds. And again, that's without open bolt delay. Once we factor that in, it's more like 789 milliseconds, which is still pretty good for an SMG, but when it comes to comparing this against assault rifles, which I've seen some people do, now it's suddenly not looking nearly as good as if you're just looking at the potential of this gun. And that's not even factoring in our bullet velocity at this point. If we are comparing the Milano with assault rifles at longer ranges, the bullet velocity is really going to be holding it back. The best bullet velocity we can get with this gun, if we're using the Ranger barrel as well as the agency suppressor, is about 625 meters per second. And what that means is this gun is only going to feel like it's hit scan, where you won't really have to lead a moving target. It's only going to feel hit scan out to about 40 meters. Beyond 40 meters, you're now going to have to start leading your targets, and things start to become a guessing game, especially against targets that are moving quite a bit. Whereas with assault rifles, with the common attachments you'd be using there, they're going to feel like hit scan up to around 70 to 80 meters. And therefore, even if they technically have a slower time to kill potential than the Milano at range, they're still going to be far more effective at range compared to the Milano, because they'll be much more consistent at hitting their target. And also, most of the assault rifles are much more forgiving with those upper torso shots compared to the Milano at range, where you have to hit literally every shot to the upper torso. So at the end of the day, I'm really not trying to rain on the parade too much for the Milano. I still think this is a very solid SMG. It's quite versatile. You can use it very effectively at those mid to somewhat longer ranges. But in this video, I just really wanted to point out the difference between the potential of a gun compared to the more realistic stats of the gun that you'll actually be experiencing in-game when it comes to playing against other players, especially when they have good movement and you're not able to consistently hit those upper torso shots. So as it is right now, I sort of consider the Milano to be one of those guns that's good at most things, but not really the best choice at anything. And overall, I do feel like this gun has become a little bit overrated recently, at least by some people. I know some people are accurately depicting the power of this gun just fine, but there are others that are claiming that this is some kind of an unstoppable god gun, and it's just the best gun in the game and nothing else competes. And when it comes to that, I just strongly disagree. Now, there is one other characteristic that I forgot to mention earlier, but I did want to bring up in this video, and I have mentioned this since the integration in Cold War. The Milano does have one other unique perk, and that is if you use stopping power rounds, which are very rare and hard to find these days, but if you get stopping power rounds in it, just like with the Modern Warfare's Uzi, stopping power rounds will actually reduce your recoil instead of increasing your recoil on the Milano. So in that sense, yes, this gun would be absolutely unstoppable. If you can get stopping power rounds in this thing, there is almost nothing that will touch this when it comes to its effectiveness at close range or long range. And that's awesome, but like I said, now that stopping power has been nerfed and it's quite hard to find, I don't really consider this to be like a major upside because it's not something you can take advantage of very often. But yeah, overall, that's my opinion on the Milano in Season 4. I do like the improvements they've made to this gun. It is still a very solid gun. I still encourage people to use it. I just want you to know at the same time, this isn't the absolute best gun in all situations like I've seen some people try to claim. Now, of course, that is just my opinion. I'd like to know in the comment section below, what do you guys think about the Milano in Season 4 in Warzone? While it has obviously improved, do you think this is the best gun in Warzone currently? Or do you think it is currently a little bit overrated by the people that are claiming this to be the best gun overall? Just let me know those thoughts in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.